Aethelburga, Abbess of Barking. We meet Saint Ethelburga, who was the first abbess of the double monastery, meaning men and women live and worship on the same monastic grounds under an abbess of Barking on the outskirts of London that was founded around 660. This large and prominent abbey was in existence over 900 years until it was dissolved during the Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries in 1539. Her early life and family. Ethelburga was born in Lindsey in Lincolnshire, likely of a royal family. She was the sister of Eorwinswald, Bishop of London, who supposedly converted King Sebi, reigned from 664 to 694, of Essex to Christianity. Her brother Eorwinswald, Bishop of London. It is recorded that Bishop Eorwinswald, with family money, helped to finance the building of two monasteries, Chertsey on the Thames in the land of Surrey and Barking in Essex, now a suburb of London. Yet it is interesting that there is an early charter believed genuine and drafted by Bishop Eorwinswald in the reign of King Sebi of Essex that records a grant of lands in Essex by a certain Aethelred to Aethelburga and Barking. This is dated between 686 and 688. Eorwinswald was the Bishop of London from 675 to 693. He succeeded Bishop Wine, and he was the choice for Bishop of London by Archbishop Theodore of Canterbury. He died at Barking Abbey, but he was buried in St. Paul's Cathedral in London. How we know about Ethelburga. The main source of information on Ethelburga's life is Bede's Ecclesiastical History of the English People, which recounts the foundation of Barking, the early miracles there, and Ethelburga's death. Evidently, a life of Ethelburga was in circulation in Bede's day, as he refers to a book which was the source of his information on her. Bede describes Ethelburga as an upright in life and constantly planning for the needs of her community. He also said that she established an excellent form of monastic rule and discipline there. During her tenure, the plague was virulent, and Bede has two stories of how Ethelburga and the community of Barking dealt with the many members who died. Place of resurrection. Bede records a vision by a nun of Barking named Torgith, also known as Theorgitha, who was the mistress of the novices of the abbey. She saw a body wrapped in a shroud being taken to heaven, pulled up by golden cords. She sensed that it was someone from their community. A few days later, Ethelburga died in 686. They realized the vision was about the abbess. She was buried at Barking. Interestingly, 3 years later, Torgith received a vision of Ethelburga and said, "I am so glad that you have come. You are most welcome." Torgith learned from the vision that she was soon to die, and her death came only a day later. Ethelburga's successor. Ethelburga was succeeded by Hildilith. It was to Hildilith and nine of her nuns that Adhelm, Abbot Maimelsbury, dedicated his Latin prose work De Virginitate, a lengthy treatise on the merits of virgin life. Adhelm praised the women at Barking for their education, but berated them for golden embroidered headbands. Adhelm wrote a very highbrow Latin, obviously knew the nuns of Barking were well educated and would understand his letters. Barking Abbey's history. Barking was destroyed by the Vikings in 870, but was re-established as a Benedictine nunnery in King Edgar's reign 100 years later, with Abbess Wulfild, who, according to Gorslin, Edgar tried to seduce. In medieval times, it became one of the richest and most influential abbeys in England. This abbey was held in such esteem that the Abbess of Barking Abbey held precedence over all the other abbesses in England. The abbey suffered greatly after a flooding of the Thames River in 1377. The abbey existed for almost 900 years until King Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries closed it in 1539. Today, one can visit the ruins of Barking that are located next door to the very active Saints Mary and Aethelburga's church. I visited Barking in 2009, had delicious lunch in their tea room, and had an interesting time afterwards visiting the ruins. St. Aethelburga the Virgin Church in London. The Church of St. Aethelburga the Virgin in the city of London is dedicated to her. It survived the Great Fire of 1666, the Blitz of World War II, but was extensively damaged by the IRA in an attack in 1993. However, it has been restored and is now the center for international reconciliation. On our long-awaited first trip to England in 1993, my husband and I had just gotten off the airplane on April the 24th and were taking a double-decker tour bus around the city of London. All of a sudden, there was a huge and frightening explosion that rocked the streets we heard and could feel. The tour bus we were on redirected away from the center of London as police quickly shut that area down. We soon learned that it was an IRA attack and that had destroyed the ancient church of St. Aethelburga the Virgin. Recent excavations of Barking Abbey have found timber building footings, evidence of weaving and glass working furnace, and a range of objects including gold thread, pens, manicure sets, style used to write on wax tablets and coins. Stephanie Hollis writes that Barking Abbey is the only English convent whose extant documentation points to the existence of a flourishing literary culture and exercise of literary patronage from the time of its foundation as a double monastery in 1666 until the late Middle Ages. Also unique is the relatively well-documented presence at Barking throughout its long history of a number of female authors, both named and anonymous. Of particular note is their early adoption of Anglo-Norman as literary language and their creation of liturgical and dramatic texts from the 13th to 15th century. Meditation. St. Ethelburga's prayer for an end to violence. God of life, every act of violence in our world between myself and another destroys a part of your creation. Stir in my heart a renewed sense of reverence for all life. Give me the vision to recognize your spirit in every human being, however they behave towards me. Make possible the impossible by cultivating in me the fertile seed of healing love. May I play my part in breaking the cycle of violence by realizing that peace begins with me.